else. They tried blocking all my videos when I was talking about Uncle Toms and sexual predators, whore niggas, homo thugs. Now the world already know, folks. So I don't got to do nothing. See, YouTube is pimping black folks in Memphis. Yeah. All that fake gangster rap music, making millions of dollars. Oh, they don't hear nothing what a homeless man got to say. Now in the world is going to really find out now. People, I want y'all to watch this video. Watch.
Hey, yo. Thanks for tuning in to Celeb Source. It's the backup channel back in Celeb Up and bringing you all the breaking news. As you already know, on January 7th, a young 29-year-old African-American man named Tyree Nichols was pulled over by the police for an alleged traffic violation after he just got finished photographing a sunset. After he was stopped, he was wrestled down to the ground, pepper sprayed, and then tased. Scared for his life, Tyree managed to wrestle himself free from the cops. Then he fled on foot. Now, after chasing this dude down the street for a few, the police stopped because they were huffing and puffing, and then they called for backup. Now, when the backup squad, which was part of the Scorpion squad, caught up to Tyree, they proceeded to beat this dude down like he was nothing more than a rag doll. I mean, they're hitting him with the baton, they're jumping all over him, they're kicking him in the head. I mean, these cops beat this unarmed black man down to a pulp. Now, after they get finished with their jacked up version of training day, they drag this dude's limp body over to the police car, and he's telling them, I'm having trouble breathing, listen, get me some help. But they do not render any aid to this dude. And then, on top of that, it takes more than 23 minutes for an ambulance to show up to take this dude to the hospital. Now, after he's admitted to the hospital, Tyree died 3 days later due to the injuries incurred from the brutal beating. Now, the other day, the Memphis police decided that they were going to release the video footage of the beating, and I got to tell you, I sat there and I watched it, and oh my goodness, I was horrified, I was mortified, my soul was crushed. I'm seeing this beautiful black man murdered in the streets by 5 other black men who seem to have absolutely no respect or regard for human life. I gotta tell you, no human being deserves to be treated that way. And these 5 black cops, not only should they be put in jail, but they need to be put under the jail. But, let me say this. I saw more than just black cops at that incident. I also saw some white cops that contributed to the situation. So they need to be arrested, charged, and locked up too. Because everybody who contributed to the death of this young man needs to be sitting in jail. Now, honestly, it does not surprise me that these 5 black cops did what they did. Because throughout history, there's always been a handful of black people who help out the ops. I mean, all Master has to do is give them a few apples and a watermelon, and those Uncle Toms are Jimmy Crack on the spot to help with the lynchings. I mean, they're out there shucking and jiving, and they're the first ones to be like, Massa, I don't see him run that way. You run that way. I've got the rope. You want me to chase him for you?
It's all right, man.
For you,
Memphis full of Uncle Tom rats.
Guys can do a really good news stuff.
Memphis full of Uncle Tom.
Black people, but I'm saying it specifically to the Uncle Toms out there. Y'all better check yourselves before you rickety wreck yourselves.
That's right. That's right.
If you don't have any love for the person who's made in your own image and likeness, then you don't have no love at all, because that means you don't love yourself. We should be the last ones out here doing harm to one another, which is why all this black on black crime is crazy and it needs to stop. Now, with that being said, I stand in full solidarity with the Nichols family as they seek justice in the criminal justice system for the murder of their son, Tyree. Now listen up, my good peoples. Malcolm X once said that the man that enslaves you is not going to be the one that saves you. So we got to start coming up with our own solutions, because too many of our young black men are being killed by the cops in the streets. And I hate to tell you this, but they're not going to defund the police. There's just way too many people making money off of the po-po, aka the old school slave patrols, for them to ever defund that organization. So we gotta come up with something else. So check it. I'm just gonna throw something out into the ether, and it's not gonna solve the whole problem, but maybe it might help. As it stands now, most applicants to the police department only need to have an associate's degree, right? You got these white dudes, they apply to the police department straight out of high school, they get a few credits in liberal arts, and then they get the job and get put in a black community, and most of them have never spent any time with black people in their lives. Yeah, they saw Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society, and Juice, but that's basically the limit of their knowledge about black people. So now you've given them a badge, a gun, and authority, and they're out there policing these streets based on stereotypes that they got from these movies. Instead of seeing black people as individuals who are human beings with families and friends and loved ones, all they're seeing is a whole bunch of little doughboys. So here's my suggestion. I believe that we need to raise the requirements and standards that it takes to become a cop. In addition to the 50 or 60 credits that it takes to get a JUCO degree, I believe that all applicants that want to be cops should also be required to have at least 12 credits of African American studies courses from an accredited college under their belt before they can even be considered for the position. You know why? Because one, it would ensure that they understood the history of the organization that they wanted to be part of. Two, it would ensure that they understood the history of the marginalization, the oppression, and subjugation that African Americans have had to suffer through in this country, in addition to the richness of African American culture. And three, it would ensure that all police officers going forward had at least some positive interactions with black people before